What's up, Juventus? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. And yeah, it's been a quiet week. Not a whole lot to talk about, right, fellas? Oh my goodness.
What are we going to time with?
We've got a ton to talk about. Damian Comoli. Who the hell is this guy? Where did he come from? What's the deal there? Antonio Conte played Juve like a fiddle, but Juve allowed him to. Gasperini, one phone call? That's it? How long did it last? Couple minutes? 5 minutes? Who knows? We're going to tackle it all. We've got DiMarzio claiming that Tudor might not even stay. Oh my God. Guys, everybody, take it easy. Take it easy. We got you. We got a full panel here. We got Skanga here. Hasn't been around nearly enough, but we're happy to have you back. How you doing today, brother?
Living the dream. Can't wait to get into this with you three morons.
Dude.
Jeez.
Love you guys, though.
Shots
you
fired.
guys are
just
so
for that.
hot.
I'm highlighting this one. All right, Jurassic Skanga in the mix. Let's go. Just for that. All right, Trimmy, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Another day in paradise. That's just a never a dull moment. 6 days into the offseason and it's full-fledged panic mode. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
See, hey, we couldn't have it any other way after this season. Let's be honest. Come on.
Do it. Yeah,
this is par for the course. Let's roll, baby. Omer, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Fucking phenomenal. Write it down.
See?
Skanga. There's my first one. I'm great. First of all, I promised you that if you would do qualify, then I'll open the second beer. So let's get it over with. Cheers.
Sorry, what does that taste like?
Drink in that complete disarray. Is that what it tastes like? That was what the going joke was in the green room. Enjoy. And by the way, toast our boy Lewis, who celebrates his birthday today. Yeah. Big birthday shout out going out to Lewis there. And F-bombs, yes, there might have been a bet on over under how many F-bombs are going to be here. Omer kicked things off. I don't think I'm going to have any, everybody, all right? So stay tuned. Let's see how this goes. Guys, big shout out to everybody in the chat. I know you guys are fired up. I know we have a ton to talk about. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Join the AJC Army. I see you all in here. We got Kais991, RB Comps, Lucci, got Mark, Matt, all you guys, Forza Juve in here, Dragons 8. Happy to see you all, and we're going to tackle everything together. Apex, what's going on, brother? Let's get into this news. We are going to get into the order, and we're going to try to keep it somewhat in the sequence of how things unfolded. Obviously, there's some big matzo balls out there with some big journalists, especially when it came to Antonio Conte, because it seemingly was done deal. It seemingly was we were waiting for this meeting. He was going to inform Napoli of his decision, and then he was going to announce the break. We all saw how it unfolded, okay? The meeting ended, and then it was followed by multiple backup discussions by Napoli. Juve seemingly nowhere in the mix. Now, the optics, absolutely terrible. Atrocious. But we allowed that. There's two parts here. Because people say, oh, you can't blame Conte. You can't blame Conte. Juve did this to themselves. I believe both can be true. Conte is a lot of things. Stupid is not one of them. And he knew exactly what he was doing. And he did it to his benefit to get the absolute best case scenario for him. Juve allowed themselves to get absolutely played and end up the ones looking like they have egg on their face because they never protected themselves. Never set a deadline. Never had any spine about the move whatsoever. And honestly, for a guy with a relationship like he has with Conte, and that's Giorgio Chiellini, he should feel a certain way. And in my opinion, it's done. Forever now with Conte, period. But guys, we're going to start from left to right. We're going to go with Skanga. Skanga, your thoughts on the whole how Conte thing unfolded and your just thoughts from the outside looking in.
Well, you bring up a good point. I never really thought about that. He totally leveraged Juventus to get a better deal from Napoli. I don't want to hear from here on out Conte is a Juve man. I hope that's now done. I have no animosity. It's a business. and he leveraged to get a better deal. He was already under contract with Napoli, so to pull a guy out of contract is going to be difficult anyways. I didn't really see it as like a done deal. For me, it was still a long shot. Like, they just won the Scudetto. Like, what are we talking about? So I don't know. I'm not that upset about it. I thought it would have been good. Thought it's probably what we needed, but I'm not gonna sit here and stew about it. I will say I'm not completely in agreement with you with the egg on the face with Elkann or whoever made the phone call. I don't know. I'm still kind of like, he was under contract. It was going to be a tough sell to get him away from Napoli. So not in total agreement with you there.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's egg on the face when you continuously do something I've always shit on Juve for, and that's allow everyone else to run the narrative. And right now, the only thing anybody's going to see, the only thing players, targets you're looking at are going to see is the fact that Conte rejected the opportunity to go to Juve. And Juve never set a deadline where they could have come out looking good. No. Antonio, we need to know. We need to have this locked in. Like, this is the day. Are you going to open yourself up to us? Are you going to make a break with De Laurentiis? What's the plan? And if you knew at some point it wasn't going to go down like that, you needed to move on and the optics needed to change. Otherwise, yeah, you're left looking like what our management looks like right now, kind of like we're scrambled. That's just how I see it anyways. But Trim, where do you feel? Are you with Skanga that there is no egg on the face? Is there
one quick question? Can you do that with is that not tampering, or does tampering not exist? To say, Conte, we have a deadline. I don't know. Of course that's an honest question. Okay.
Of course they could have, because you can't sign him. You can't get anything in writing or in paper, but like they should have done their due diligence to see how. And I mean, if you're working in negotiations, like I've been poached several times by companies, and I've also poached from a managerial position other employees. You always have to prepare for all scenarios. Like, you gotta know, yeah, we're gonna go after Conte, but you gotta expect Napoli to throw the house at him. 100%. You've got to have some kind of damage control, some type of contingency plan that leaves you guys looking like you're still in control. And that's crucial for this management with the fan base. It's also like a fan service type thing, because right now we don't have much confidence, at least I don't, in the guys that are running the show. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, what the hell are we doing? But Trim, your thoughts, and then we get Omer weighing in as well.
Yeah, so obviously leading up to the end of the season and when the rumors started to pick up about Conte and Juve being interested and him possibly being interested in coming to us, I was obviously a little excited from the standpoint that, you know, we passed up on him at the beginning of the season, and obviously we saw how it turned out. I didn't want him at the start of this season. I made that very clear. I wanted Motta, and we saw how it went. So anyways, fast forward to this week and how everything kind of played out. To be honest, I was a little surprised, and I don't know why I was, because then when you look back on it now, it literally just lines up exactly with how Antonio Conte is. It's almost like a tit for tat thing. He's thinking to himself, okay, you guys, you know, I was waiting for you last year before the season started. You chose Motta, some quote unquote newbie rookie compared to him in terms of CV and his credentials, right? And now you want me back after I proved to everybody that I can win the Scudetto with a lot lesser of a squad and that crappy team that Napoli is. And he got it done. And now we look horrible. Like, it's actually pretty sad, pretty bad. But yeah, now it's just, I'm kind of with everybody else from the standpoint that, you know, I'm not going to really say anything negative or bad towards Conte in the sense of like, oh, his time here prior like doesn't count or any of that. Just, this was his last opportunity. Now moving forward, we should never even consider him. And that's it. That's where it stands. And I think all the stuff after Conte, like we'll get into the other managers that we were potentially looking at, phone calls, this and that, like all of that is just bad optics. And you're just leaving not only yourself as a club and management in disarray, but also with the fans. Like, we don't know what to think now. And we're kind of just like scrambling, thinking, okay, like where are we going from here? Well, what is the plan? There's no clear sense of direction or plan clearly, because it's like you had one option that you were going for, which was option A, and you had no backup plan. When in fact and in turn, Tudor is the backup plan and the option because, like you said, Al, he has an option for this year. So there's no.
Well, we'll get into the plan and what could potentially be the plan in a bit. Yeah, there's an interesting point there about Conte, and I said this is kind of last shot. It feels like last shot. Feels like it should be for me anyways, because I think it does change things when you have the history that you do with Juventus. I said it on the Daily Update video. If you've got a guy that some of the fans were willing to forget, some of the things that pissed us off about how things went down in previously, and then now you add this to that story when they were willing to just kind of let it go. And he did use us for leverage, right or wrong, whatever. That's how it played out. Omer, does it affect things for you, the feelings towards Conte? Do you think we're left with egg on our face? What's your thoughts on this Conte thing? By the way, shout out to RB Comps, Super Chat. And yes, treat yourself to a PSG scarf tonight. 1 match loan. Come on, everybody, all right? Intermediate. Now go ahead, Omer.
Well, I'm closer to Skanga's opinion. Am I?
No, you're good now. You're good.
Really? Cool. I'm closer to Skanga's opinion. I don't think we're left with an egg on our face. I also don't think it was Conte's last shot at Juve. It never is. And we're saying everything we're saying right now out of anger, frustration, whatever. But if we finish out of Europe next season, then when Conte becomes an option, everyone will change their tune. It all depends on how Juve does. And my benefit is Juve's well-being. And if Conte will be the solution next season, then fucking forget everything that happened in the past 6 days. 6 days since the last match. Now, I do concede that a lot of that, for me, is media. And like, if there was no media and you only go by official announcement, the only thing you'd see is Napoli confirming the coach that they have now under contract will still be their coach, continuing his contract next season. A lot of it came from journalists. A lot of it was clickbait. A lot of it also came from credible guys who we follow a lot and quote a lot here. But I think it's been like a huge storm, but a short one. Conte, yeah, it's frustrating. I do love to see De Laurentiis groveling for Conte, just, begging him to stay, throwing everything he has on him. That's not the way he does things. But it is what it is. No Conte, then let's go. It's not Conte. Move forward. Now, in terms of the plan forward, we'll discuss it. I don't know what it is, but everything surrounding Juve right now is kind of in the shade because I don't know who to believe anymore.
The thing for me is that this went on for a while, and Juve again never seemed in control of the narrative. If we are to believe that it wasn't ever a thing, they weren't that into bringing Conte in, I'm not buying that one. There's no chance. And even Tudor, after the final game of the season, said a decision will be made immediately, as it needs to be, as to what the plan is moving forward. That hasn't even been put out there by the club yet, and he called them out for it. And rightfully so. He deserves that much as well. Yes, we know that the contract, because we reach top 4, it continues for a year. You get the 1-year option that kicks on automatically for Tudor. But they never actually flat out stood out and said, like, this is it. This is the route we're going to go. We're not looking or whatever. No, so we know they're looking. That's why I'm not buying that we weren't in on Conte and we weren't trying to push for this guy to come in. As far as the management goes, like, go ahead, Skanga.
I was just going to say, they did confirm him for the Club World Cup. So it kind of buys them like a month.
The Club World Cup was prior to the 1-year option kicking on automatically. When you reach Champions League qualification, it goes beyond Club World Cup. You actually get the 1 year beyond. But because of all the speculation, because of everything going on there, Tudor's like, a decision needs to be made, and it needs to be made immediately. Because why on earth would you hire a fucking coach and have someone else run your team for a Club World Cup? Like, that wouldn't have made any sense either. So, of course, they needed to come up with an answer. And the fact that they didn't, even with this 1 year that goes on Tudor, shows me and tells me that it's not just BS. They were looking and they were chasing, and we currently are looking at options. And now it's rumored that it's Comoli that is looking to find this coach, which makes sense because that's going to be his thing. He's coming in as general manager. We have Giuntoli that is fired. Is he? No official announcement yet. Okay, they can't even do that right. So Giuntoli's gone 2 days ago. Giuntoli's gone 2 days ago. We still have no official announcement. The news today is that Damian Comoli is officially working. We will get to Comoli in a second here. But guys, your overall thoughts, your overall view and opinion on the Giuntoli sacking. And now we'll start with Omer on this one and work back.
I really think it's unprofessional. I think it's a mistake. Yes, he has done some mistakes, and he's the current scapegoat for everyone to blame what happened in the past season. But that's part of the job. Like you can't be perfect. So what? So the first season was bad. The first coach he chose was bad, so that's it. You fire him. It seems like more like drawing a line in the sand that no mistakes will be tolerated, which is an idiotic way of doing things for me, for a club the size of Juve and this type of organization. Like, imagine if we fired Marotta after he appointed Del Neri. That was a mistake, an obvious mistake. So I do think Giuntoli has a lot of things he can bring to the team. And out of everyone that we said that should be sacked, with Scanavino, Ferrero, and the other guy who couldn't close a deal for a sponsor, he's the only one who actually has some pros to his name and things he has done right. The rest of them have nothing going for them. It's all been bullshit. I think it's a mistake. I think with the right direction, he could have been useful. And you can't even change managers every year, let alone general managers or sporting directors, because that should be a long-term job. I think it's been harshly done by, and I think it's a bit unprofessional and kind of a mess from Juve.
Yeah. Trem, your thoughts on Giuntoli?
For me, overall, I thought he was fine. I think you can't really fault him for some of the player personnel that he tried to bring in. Obviously, it didn't work out for one season for Coop. Moving forward, I think he's going to be just fine. The Douglas Luiz thing, I mean, we could all say at the beginning, those rumors, we weren't really interested, but hey, he tried it. It was a shot, and it didn't work out. I think his ultimate big downfall will be Motta, and tying himself to Motta, how he got rid of players. They were kind of in sync in thinking, obviously, because if the coach is saying, can't use Danilo, got to get rid of him, can't use Fagioli, got to get rid of him. Obviously, Giuntoli just bringing him in as one of his first appointments, like he has to stick with his coach and stick by his manager, right? So I think for me, that's his biggest downfall. But overall, we love the buzz catchphrase of writing the books or fixing the books. Like, he did that. And he put us in a pretty good financial spot moving forward for this season, or this offseason at least. So whether fans want to, be happy about that or give him credit for that or not, it is what it is, right? And I think that he did a good job with that. So to Omar's point, I think it's a little bit premature if they did get rid of him. And sounds like behind the scenes he had like a dust up with Elkann. So I don't know. He's ultimately the one who's going to make the final say and final call on that. But I think overall, from the sporting side, I think he did a really good job. And we'll have to see who comes in to replace him, if it is Comoli taking over his duties or what. But I think he did a solid job for his first couple seasons with Juve.
Yeah, we're gonna, and I know that in the grand scheme of things, you guys already kicked things off in the minority on that opinion and everything. I want to remind everybody, we've got a ton of Storm the Barns. We are going to have good Storm the Barn earlier into this session today. Reminder, get those likes up. Skanga, Giuntoli, and the sacking.
I've been pro Giuntoli since we signed the guy. So this guy cracked a couple eggs while he was making an omelet with one arm, and he was painting the Mona Lisa with the other hand, in terms of moving the mountain of financials in 1 year. Like, what the hell are we even talking about? This guy was a genius when it comes to the financials, what he did. Okay, we lost Houston. stop crying over it. People really need to get over this shit. All right. It's one player. It's not going to change the course of Juventus's being as a club over the next 1,000 years. So settle down. He made a mistake with Motta. Great point with Marotta and Del Nioli from Omer. Like you're going to make mistakes as a sporting director. You're not going to get them all right. But he did, I would say, over the balance, he evened out for me with the negatives and the positives. Big mistake if we're going to let him go. I think that's a huge mistake.
I mean, like anything, time will tell. We've got Damian Comoli coming in. It's going to be hit or miss. My thoughts on Giuntoli, everybody knows where I stand. If you're going to make that call, it should have never ended there because he's not the only one with blood on his hands. And I remind everybody, when in the history of Juve has a decision like picking the coach ever come down to one man?
Bingo.
You're telling me we should have gone for Conte, obviously, last season. That's a fair opinion to think, looking back, hindsight 2020. But you're telling me if the brass wanted Conte, that they wouldn't have override that decision? You're telling me that wouldn't have happened? I'll tell you exactly why that decision didn't happen. The same damn thing Giuntoli's been working on the entire time, and that's the money. That's the money. Decisions were made because of money. Period. And who did those directions come from? The guys that were temps, that were numbers guys, that came in, that were telling you to your face in every interview they had, we are focused on the finances and becoming sustainable. It was all driven from them. I think people forget and undermine the fact that if Giuntoli didn't run in to a Juve juggernaut in the decade of dominance, Napoli actually would have had several Scudetti under him with a fraction of the resources. He finishes his time there with one. But if it were not for our juggernaut, he would have had several to his name. He knows how to build a club. He was just restricted, and they were driving his direction. So now, look at how things kick off when they take the reins. They get absolutely finessed and look clowns in the Conte saga, okay? No spine about how they operated. We look like asshats in even firing Giuntoli. If you want to make that decision, I'm cool. Say bye to Giuntoli. But get Scanavino and Ferraro out of here. Now, today.
Yeah.
They do nothing. They offer nothing. How did Scanavino get promoted?
Yes, he did.
A month and a half ago, this guy gets promoted. For what?
Yeah.
How? Who overlooked a sponsorship deal that couldn't get done all year? Was that on Giuntoli too? No, it was Calvo. And these asshats that were overlooking everything never stepped in and said, man, we need the money. Find us a deal. You can't find a deal all year. We end up with Jeep where we were. And then you get visit Lake Minnetonka on top of that too. Like, what are we doing? These guys are clowns. Minnesota.
It's visit Detroit, but okay. Anyways.
These guys are clowns, okay? Period. Elkann's always been a money man. In the background, stay back there, be the money. I got another issue with this guy. When you're ready to step up with 100 million euros, this is why I do believe we have egg on our face. You were ready to step up with 100 million euros if this team didn't qualify for Champions League. If you had an actual target, one that doesn't go on the books anyways when a coaching contract, lock up your goddamn target. Because at least Giuntoli did that. Lock up your damn target. If you wanted Conte in, we're sitting on standby? For one bloody moment, act like you represent the team that won the Scudetto 38 times in fucking Italy and have some damn backbone. It's a shit show. Elkann, get back, run the money, and that's it, okay? Get me a serious damn president in this club, like, now. And Scanavino and Ferraro, go take all the damn naps you want, you fucking panda bear. And Scanavino, Nothing. Promoted. Now, okay. Comoli. Damian Comoli. This guy comes in. Real quick.
Well, hang on. He hasn't come in yet because Giuntoli hasn't left yet.
No, he is, and he's actively working. It's just not officially announced, but he's signed 3 years, 2028. He's working.
Oh, they did sign him? I'm sorry, I must have missed that. I apologize.
Yes. So, okay. Damian Comoli, how do you guys feel about it? Excited? Unsure?
No idea. No idea who he is. No idea what he's going to do. I'm fucking terrified. To be completely honest, I am terrified. I have no idea.
Here's my thing.
Yeah, please.
Who made that decision? Because I don't trust the guys making that decision. Because if they're the guys that sacked Giuntoli, who had the only pros out of the entire group, like Omer stated, and I agree with, so we kept the same guys that have the blood on their hands, and now they're making the call on this guy. If by everybody's logic, Giuntoli should have been fired because of Motta, well, then Elkann should be removed, and these guys should be removed because they put Giuntoli in power.
It's a solid theory.
They all have blood on their hands. Yeah. Giuntoli's one bugaboo was giving Motta free reign, and those other guys, they just followed suit too. I'm not buying this thing that they're the savior, and he was all that was bad and wrong with this club. It's rotten at the top, period. Damian Comoli. Omer, what do you think?
No idea. No idea who this guy is. Seems like the sort of a Moneyball, Billy Bean. Seems like that's the direction. Honestly, never heard his name before. I don't know what to expect. Early reports seems... Yep. That's what I have to say about it. But again, we're always really quick to judge people even before they work for Juve. Maybe, I don't know, in 2 years' time, we'll look back and say, wow, that was a great signing. So I don't want to jump the gun and say, yeah, that's an absolute mistake from Juve, but it doesn't seem like it's going in the right direction, for me at least, right now.
Well, he's been around. Like, this isn't his first job. Like, he's
no. Yeah, I'll break it down. I'll give you some things. Okay, Ayu, here, stick with me. You're not sacking Elkann. You're telling him to go back to being absent and just worrying about the money like he always did in the past. This guy, just because you're top of Exor, does not qualify you to make footballing decisions. Period. You were always absent. He was always absent. Grossly absent. Go back to that. Not sacking him.
That's why
sacking Scandavino and Ferraro. Now, this guy, Damian Comoli. So, mixed reviews all over the place with this guy. Okay? To lose their fans, upset to lose him, whatever. Well, yeah, I mean, he brought him, their second cup? French cup? Like, ever, whatever. I mean, the circumstances there are night and day to Juventus, everybody, okay? But this guy's philosophy centers around using evidence-based metrics to reduce risk and increase efficiency in sporting decisions. And it's with everything. So player scouting and recruitment, he believes traditional scouting is biased or inconsistent. So that's why he likes to use the data. And he uses analytics like, for example, if they're trying to find a certain type of player, they'll look at the stats that they deem for that role being the most important. So they'll look at like pressing stats, distance covered, passing accuracy, whatever they deem to be the most important metrics for that role they're looking at. His theory is doing it this way. Instead of giving you 2 targets, we'll give you 10 to 15, okay? And I'll get more on this. For squad building, he's literally looking at all the metrics of the players on the team on a sheet, okay? And then looking at where everything ranges and being like, okay, now we need to focus on this group of characteristic traits that we lack in, okay? It's a fucking Excel spreadsheet special.
Turning me on right now. Love it.
Institutional
Love every minute so far.
Decision support. So there's a truth teller. So what happens is he walks in, they take a list of their candidates, and then everything. This truth teller is somebody literally combats every pick with the data, and they actually have to put forth and look at it against it. If he cannot back a signing with the data, he will not make it. Okay?
6 to midnight right now.
Transfer market strategy. He obviously tries to use this data as a predictive model to assess player resale value and potential. Yep. He likes to buy undervalued talent with high upside. I think that's a game plan for pretty much everybody in Italy right now. All teams are trying to do that. Coaching and performance. He integrates GPS data, video analytics, and in-match metrics to monitor individual and team performance. Key takeaways, he views data as an equal partner to experience and intuition, not a replacement. They try to combine it all. So what happens, that's what probably the biggest thing that's the difference between this guy and a standard director is they don't scout. Normally, they won't send somebody to go and watch players. They'll watch a little bit of video, and then they'll cross the data. And then what they'll do is they'll send somebody, instead of scouting him at games, they'll interview somebody for and spend time with them 3-4 days and try to then see if he fits the culture of the squad. Essentially, this guy is Moneyball full on. For me, it raises concerns, and I'll tell you why. Because of everything I've said in this Giuntoli moment, in this management moment. I said, we are playing Moneyball. It's a lot of the reason why we shit on Giuntoli so much. Well, not we, but fans shit on him so much was because of the decisions being made. I said, when the books get cleaned up, I want to see true ambition and everything. But this seems like, and remember, I always said, my concern is becoming one of those teams that is happy with status quo as long as the revenue stays the same. And I said, when your books get right, I want to see the ambition. I'm concerned hearing how Moneyball this guy runs, if it's going to work for a team with the ambitions as high as it is. I have concerns. It's interesting. It's unique because he's one of the first to bring it to football. In terms of the global scale, he's ranked in between 10 to 15 right now amongst actual directors. What do you guys feel when you hear about, I know Skanga's loving it. This guy's an Excel spreadsheet freak, so he's probably like,
can I start?
His hair's on fire, for fuck's sake.
I hurt my shoulder and put my hand up. Oh, shit.
So fire away. What are your thoughts hearing this take, this approach?
Okay, first of all, there's some people on Twitter that are going to absolutely wet their drawers with this guy, because the way they fire out the analytics and all those little charts they put out on Twitter and this player stinks because he doesn't pressure it. They're going to love this guy. I'm just saying that. But I will say, you combine this guy with Tognozzi. If Tognozzi comes back, who was probably the best scout, one of the best scouts we've ever had, if we can bring him back, that's why I don't completely agree that they'll not go look at players. I think that still has to happen. And I think if you bring Tognozzi in, that's his thing. And if you can combine the two, oh, sweet mother of pearls, this could be something good. Could be something good. But you have to have the right pairing with it. I don't agree it can't be all just data and not going to see players. You still have to have that element of it. But a lot of people are scared to do things. Could be good, could be bad, but I'm loving every second. Everything you just said right there, I love it.
Omer, Trim, either fire away on your thoughts, your feelings about this approach, and how you feel about going this way.
Well, this approach is, I don't think it's as applicable to football as it is to other sports, mainly because a lot of the data is gathered from different leagues all around the world, where it might be easier when you're viewing like a player from the NBA or the NFL and they're all playing in the same league against the same team, so the stats are more applicable. In general, I don't think it's like, it is a thing to go by, but I hope it's not the only metric they are going by. There are still players you need to watch. There are things in football that are not in the statistics, no matter how you look at them. So I hope that's not the route they're taking. It may prove itself in the long run, but I don't believe it to that degree that it should only be. You still should watch a player. You still should have your personal opinions, and a lot of the things in football is mentality of a player, and that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. It just some players rise to the occasion when things get rough, and some don't. So I don't know. It seems like we've already done it. I mean, Liverpool are working by stats and stuff, and they have analytical teams, and things are going well for them.
Yeah.
And so
How'd they
we,
do
we
this
kind
year?
of have to see how it pans out. I don't know what to make of it anymore because I don't know any club who works by that metric alone to make a judgment on it.
Gio's always good for a good comment or two. This one's epic here. Funny stuff. Trim, your thoughts with Damien Comolli coming in and when you hear his approach?
Yeah, so personally, I'm more of a team eye test kind of guy rather than a team Corsi or Fenwick or any of the analytics metrics you want to use. I know I'm taking that from other sports, but that I don't know. There has to be a balance. This is going to be my whole thing. If they're really keen on this guy, there has to be a balance. It can't just all be about numbers. I mean, again, my head's going to explode right now because I'm thinking of other sports and other circumstances where it's like it's always been about the metrics and the analytics and it hasn't worked. Because at the end of the day, in sports, you need to go based on what you see. Talent wise, do they like players? They either they have it or they don't. They either have it or they don't. So with Skanga's point to Tognozzi, if he's going to be working hand in hand with him and kind of tell them, okay, these are the players we should be looking at in terms of what they have to offer. Do they have it up here? The mentality, just for me, it's all about you got to have a fine balance. I'm not discrediting the numbers like totally, but at the same time, you gotta dumb it down. It's a sport at the end of the day. Guys either have it or they don't. You want to balance both, that's fine. But it's not all about the numbers for me because I've seen it in other sports and other teams that I follow, and it doesn't work. When it comes.
This guy to me, again, he's just like, it's like you're about to live your life with a risk assessment analysis guy. And it's like, man, don't cross the street without taking a quick peek left, man. It's like, I'm on a cul-de-sac. Like, it's like we're about to enter life with a risk assessment manager. And it's like, I don't know. There's some weird things coming out like through interviews when they interview any candidate. Okay. We obviously heard Gasperini, one phone call. It's over. We'll get into thoughts on coaching and everything. But he did say in an interview with Damien Comolli that we're looking up and you're starting to see people dig up interviews. He had some interesting things to say when asked about what's your one professional pet peeve. And he said mediocrity. I can't stand it. He says, if you're not willing to put in the hardest amount of work, I don't understand why you're even here and it won't work with me. Okay, cool. I like that. Honeymoon phase shit though, right? Honeymoon phase shit. When you hear about his interviews with players, candidates, coaches, etc., a list of questions, thought out questions that focus on the culture, but also the data. So you're trying to get a read if the data lines up with what you think of this person. And then there are test and trap questions. And he said, if you get the trap questions wrong, it immediately ends there. We don't waste any time. We move on. It's interesting. That's why this whole Gasperini thing with the rumors that busted out, it was one phone call and everybody's like, oh, Gas said no. I go, did he? Or did he fail one of the questions immediately? And Comolli said, hey, you know what? Boom, you got that question wrong. Who knows?
Said no.
But
maybe it was a prank call, like, is your refrigerator running? And then we just hang up on the dude.
Maybe they called him to say, hey, do you know anybody that would be interested? Is there anybody besides you that we could talk to?
Friends?
Any friends? Listen, when we get to the coaching thing, okay, when it comes to Comolli, the bottom line is, who knows? It could be hit, it could be miss. We just have to wait and see. It's this unknown because we've never operated so data-driven. So, yeah, like Skangaset, change. Everybody feels a certain way about change. Some people go with it. Some people immediately are like, nope, aim for it. Time will tell. But this guy, I'm a little skeptical because I feel like certain clubs prior would have kept him around longer if he was that strong. And he's so, data oriented, yet he has just as many hits and misses to his name as any other standard sporting director out there. Because I always say, you're going to pick guys, you're going to hit or miss on them. It's not like he's got a massive list of hits going this data-driven way. So for me, it's like, does it make sense? Is it going to be a fit for us? Who the hell knows? I still don't trust the guys who brought him in the first place. So I don't friggin' know. And if this guy has any ties to Redbird, get him the fuck out now. That's one F-bomb.
No, that's 3.
Write it down. Statistically, Douglas Luiz was a great signing. Wasn't he? Coop was a great signing, statistically.
Yeah. Data-driven would have been, boom.
Exactly this guy.
I'm skeptical is all I'm saying, everybody, but of course, time will tell. The coaching situation. Conte, out. Apparently, we shifted to Gasperini. Apparently, that wasn't... I didn't want... Tudor is being disrespected, I think, at every turn, and we're not controlling the narrative here. Mm-hmm. I brought this forward when it was Gasperini, and I said, I asked the question on Daily Update video. I said, is this the best route for Juventus? This is the debate. This is how it was shaping up, as you have certain fans that said, after this all fell apart with Conte, however the hell it happened or whatever, you cannot remain with Tudor. You have to make some type of statement for Serie A with Milan getting Max, Conte sticking in Napoli. We cannot remain with Tudor. And I said, well, hold on a second. Because I need this team to show some type of control at some friggin' facet at some moment. And I said, why don't we just have a little bit of resolve and realize this shit show that Tudor walked into? He's on an option. How about we don't just settle for somebody for the sake of, we got to make a stand. Let this guy continue the work he's doing. I still think we can achieve top 4 with him. Maybe it could be better. Who knows if you sign some guys that he could do. I like the way he wants to play the game. It's very similar to Gasperini in terms of how he wants to play. Very direct, very north-south. But why not have some resolve and realize you're on a 1-year option with him and then attack an elite coach and get the top dog you want instead of committing 3 years to a coach that I still think has maybe just a few less question marks than the guy you have a 1-year option with that stepped in and actually did a good job considering. Guys, are you with me, or what are your thoughts on that? Would it not be better to just maybe take it easy? Take your option with Tudor?
I was all for it. If it's not contest, stick with Tudor, because I don't see anyone else. I told you that in the group chat. Keep Tudor, man. He sort of made lemonade out of the shit bag of rotten lemons he got when he landed here, and he managed to make something out of it. People tend to forget what a mess he came into. And he was tasked with one thing, maybe 2, make the dressing room right and qualify to the Champions League. He did it. Now I get that Conte is a better option. I assume Tudor knows that as well. That's why he wouldn't throw on his fit. It's either this or I'm going. But now when you start looking at names like Marco Silva or I don't want to disrespect Pioli, but dragging him from Saudi Arabia to come coach you, just keep the guy. He has a 1-year contract. It's not long. Anyone who will come in will want a minimum of 2-year obligation. And if it doesn't go well, then we find ourselves in the same spot next summer, and we have to fire him and pay and give him some severance pay and rinse and repeat whatever happened in the past 5 years. Keep Tudor, man. Just let the guy have a chance. I think he's earned it.
Yeah. Trim, Skanga, who wants to go next with Tudor thoughts?
I think the biggest thing for me with the Gasperini stuff is that we pivoted right after Conte right to him to try to secure what's known as, let's say, a bigger name than what we have with Tudor. And now it looks really bad that he basically just said, no, I'm sticking with my agreement with Roma. And I think that's why, myself included, why we're all upset about it. But if we're all being honest, did we really want Gasperini in the first place? No. We would have wanted Conte. And if Conte wasn't the option because he's staying at Napoli, Tudor is who we have right now. We were all more than fine with going into next season with him because there's no other really viable or good option out there. So I wasn't too disappointed that Gasp ends up staying with his agreement with Roma, but it was more just coming from the standpoint of we missed out on Conte and they wanted to pivot to Gasp. So just again, it's just a snowball or a compounding effect of how bad it looks on the club, that it's like we're desperate trying to get anybody when we have a guy sitting right here about to lead us to the Club World Cup and did a pretty admirable job towards the end of the year, at least, like Omer said, riding the ship with what Motta kind of dealt us with and the cards that we were dealt with Motta. And, he's done a really good job. So I don't mind keeping him into going into next season and just see what he needs as a manager to fit his system and in terms of player personnel and go from there.
Yeah. Skanga?
I don't believe the whole gas stuff. I don't believe that we pushed that hard for Gasperini. The multiple reporters came out and said there was one call with Giuntoli like a couple of weeks ago and then another phone call. Is that a full court press on a second manager? I don't think so. I think that was just some calls, didn't work out. He already had an agreement with Roma. I don't think it was a full pivot like everyone's making it out to be from Conte to Gasperini. But to Berto's point, make the statement that Tudor's your guy.
Yeah.
Right after that news came in with Gasperini, again, I don't believe Juve was all in on him. But that's when you say you want to know something. That was just, we were kicking tires. Tudor's our guy. He's the one moving forward. That's what should have happened, and it didn't. That's what upset me most about that whole Gasperini situation.
I agree wholeheartedly. Big shout out to Maestro21 gifting 5 AJC memberships. All right. Big thank you there for the support, and everybody who was gifted that. Reach out. Let's plug you into our private members chat. All right. Now, as far as this goes here, look, I stand firm that management has made a mess of the entire situation. You should have known, and even Tudor stating it after the final game, like, you owe that to him. Nobody would have stepped in and given you that option that he did, coming in that situation, no guarantees, whatever, and you repay him by allowing others to, again, control the narrative and pretty much drag him through the mud. Because that's what it looks like with all these rumors. You should have had a deadline if you wanted another coach. And the second that you knew that wasn't going to pan out, if you didn't want any of these alternatives or you thought it was going to land on Tudor again, you make that announcement before Conte gets announced as staying at Napoli. And you show that you're controlling the narrative and that you guys are acting, and do something with conviction. That's what I want to see. I want to see these guys make decisions, but actually stand behind them. And it's okay if I don't agree with the decision, but do something with some damn conviction and don't look so Mickey Mouse. We have the optics of a club that is provinciale. Legit. We do not operate like 38-time Scudetto champions. We do not. In the office, we are miles behind. And it starts at the very top. Giuntoli was this poster boy, this mask, this Band-Aid. I'm not happy with how they've operated. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tudor did tell us to F off. Because he's made to look a fool through all of this. And all he did was open himself up with zero guarantees when absolutely nobody was coming, and still seemingly people are not coming. And might I add, you're going into a damn mercato. What kind of player is going to come right now when you guys can't make a single decision? You got a sporting director out. You haven't even fired him or officially announced it. You're scattered with coaches. Like, We look a mess. Optics are very important.
It's still the first week. It
doesn't
but there is
matter.
some news.
We're about to train for Club World Cup on Monday, Skanga. And we might still hire a different coach. That's a joke.
Yeah, there is some news coming up if you want to hear it. I got one quick one. So Skier's reporting that Comoli and Tognozzi sign with you, expect to sign at the beginning of next week. Do we believe what Di Marzio says or no?
Di Marzio I actually do, because he came out of the blue back into the Juventus world, but he caught me off guard with this Tudor Atalanta thing because he completely disregarded the fact that we are contracted and it extended for 1 year. I don't know, man. Maybe the edibles. Maybe he visited a dispensary and something was there that day. I don't know.
Still saying Marco Silva is being considered by Juventus.
I just want to touch on one thing about the management. How often this season and into last summer did we say that when it comes to the players, we have to find guys that have the Juve DNA or players that know what it means to be at Juventus? When are we ever going to start using that theory towards management and the people that are higher up, like John Elkann? Yes, he's owned the team for however long he's owned the team, but it's like all this stuff that's going on makes me really question, do these guys really know what it means to represent our club or be the face, quote unquote, of our club, right? Like that logic applies, I feel like, to management as well. And it can't be understated, personally.
Yeah. And we see shouts, go for Palladino. We've seen shouts, go for Mourinho. Like, all I'm saying, all I want them to do is not settle. Like, go for your main guy. This Marco Silva thing out of the blue and stuff, it's like, just, guys, take it easy. I don't know what the data reads on this guy. I haven't seen the Excel spreadsheet, but like, keep Tudor around for 1 year. Get after a big name. Okay? If it doesn't come this season, that's fine, because we still have other work to do. And the office still needs corrected. And my fear is, until that happens, we're still going to struggle. We're still going to struggle. I feel, until the actual problem at Juve, which is the guys in the highest positions, until that changes, I think it's going to be all over the map. But I hope I'm wrong, of course. Guys, we are going to get to Storm the Barn. There's a ton of going on. Do you guys want to jump on, like, Mourinho?
I got one.
Because the first Storm the Barn is Mourinho in.
Oh.
What's yours, Skanga, before we get to Mourinho in? What's yours?
I just saw in the news there, allegedly, Napoli's going to make a push for Gatti. Maybe 40 million. Would you pull the trigger on that? If it meant keeping Vega.
Napoli can pay 80 million for Gatti, and they can come pick him up and walk him on their backs. Fuck off.
I would make that sale and slam it with Thor's hammer. Sold.
Screw them. No.
Sold.
Yeah, if it was anybody other than Napoli, I would say yeah. But no, not for that club. No way.
No. Forget it.
No.
Omer. But damn, that's a lot of money for him. But no.
40 million.
Mourinho in. Yay or nay?
No.
He is a big name. We said you get a elite coach. I think he should be considered elite. He was never the problem at Roma. That was clear. That's another team with brutal office. But I don't know about Mo. Funny enough, guys, when we sit here and talk about all this stuff, Mo kind of has a Conte-esque shelf life. And Conte, we all wanted him. I wanted him. But maybe in hindsight, it could be a blessing in disguise looking forward, because the honeymoon phase is going to be over with those guys. And who knows? Maybe it goes sideways. But Conte, we learned what we always knew. He only gives a shit about Conte. Conte only gives a shit about Conte. We saw that. With Mourinho, it's got a little bit of a shelf life to him too, and he can create issues. And I don't think we have... If I have concerns about upper management, anywhere Mourinho's gone, he battles the upper management, and it's just a disaster. And that's my reason why I don't think we have the upper office to even handle Mo.
No.
And it would be a mess. And that's why I'm a no.
It's like putting a wild bull into a kindergarten classroom. It's not going to, they can't handle him.
Have you heard that Juve are getting more serious with Gyökeres? Well, last I heard was that Juntelis was getting serious about either Osimhen or Gyökeres because he believed that's what we have. But on the Excel spreadsheet, Gyökeres is down on distance covered for a striker, so he's probably going to be out of the mix.
You son of a bitch.
We got to get Skanga's Excel password there and log into these sheets because now he's going to be tied into Camoli. Scangoli over here. Did we miss a huge Scangoli? Did we miss a huge opportunity not getting De Bruyne? No.
I don't know if it's huge, but we missed an opportunity.
I think we missed an opportunity.
A little one.
Yeah. I was never that afraid with the injuries. I mean, this past season he missed 12 combined games for Belgium and Man City. I think in a more tactical league like Serie A, he probably actually last more than a physical league like the Premier League that is very north-south and a ton of running. I think he'd probably...
NASCAR.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think we should have pushed because I think we need experience. But
Nicky has a good point.
This is another thing with Camoli, though. Where does experience tie into the thing? Is that like a metric that's on there too, or is it specifically the performance because it's labeled as performance-driven data? I'm looking at this team. We've got an average age of 24 years old. We need some experience. We need some winners to come in and help this side and groom these younger players. Does that fall into his mix for them? So question marks are still there, right?
So is he like disregarding whatever the manager wants? If a manager wants a specific player and they look at the metrics, it doesn't add up to what we're looking for, then just doesn't have a say in it?
I will not sign a player if it isn't backed by data. His words exactly, verbatim.
Hold on a second. Experience gets the box.
So if a coach comes in, I want this guy. Well, hold on a second here.
Look in Serie B, and the data are relevant to Serie B. I mean, it really depends where the player has played. It's a big factor. Like if you take someone who played most of his career up until he was 26 in, let's say, Brazil, is that a data sheet you can take into Europe, to Italy, to England, to Spain, and say, yeah, this is going to work out exactly the same as it did in the Brazilian league?
I'm not sold on this thing, man. I think like right now, this is all the guys that play Football Manager. This is like their wet dream and gives them hope that they can one day become sporting directors for a professional team.
Well, they can save before a match and
I'm telling you,
it's if it doesn't work out.
It's what it feels like. It's what it feels like to me. It's strange to me, but these are question marks we'll have that he'll have to answer to. The truth is, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows where experience plays into this and everything?
Let's try it.
You know, time will tell.
Don't sign anyone before you know who your manager is. That's my point. He should have a say in it.
My feeling is like, I feel like we're going about this whole thing backwards too. It's just weird to me. It's strange that Conte was this target before this guy was even a hire. And then it's like, you're telling me that you hired Camoli, Conte announced, and now he's looking way out in left field. Gasp wasn't in play, like all these guys weren't in play, keeping Tudor's not an option. This guy's going to Marco Silva because that's where the data leads him, etc. And it's like, well, that just to me screams disarray. And if you're going to look at this whole thing, for me, start at the top with your actual president. A real president should have been the guy to name who your sporting director is. And then you guys name your coach and you go down the line. For me, it's like we're doing this. We're scattered. We're starting here. Then we're going over here. We're bouncing back here. it just feels so out of sequence is why I'm skeptical. More so than the guys involved, his history, it feels scattered to me.
It's like a guy who walks into a bar. Statistically, if you try to pick up 15 different women, one of them is gonna say yes. But the guys who actually know what they want look at one woman and say, "I want this one," and I would stop at nothing to get this this woman. So we might gonna get a.
But you got to check it with the data before you pick her up, man. It's like, come on, body count.
You gotta have a series of questions, and then you just turn away if she doesn't answer correctly.
Oh my God, man!
Someone else will pay for your shot.
Yeah. I think honestly, when we look at all this, Conte represented something that you could get away with while you still work on the upper management. We have to be honest, right? Like, he represents something that could bring results no matter where the disarray is up above. Now that that's gone, there is no surefire bet out of all the other names mentioned that like could bring such a stimulus. They have question marks around them. So for me, work on your front office before you commit to that coach. Like, keep going a bit more. Let's do a little more work. I got,
before we get to the next question, so Comoli is not a sporting director. They're looking at Ricky Masada now as another name that just came out from Mirko as the sporting director.
They want to do it as committee.
As a committee. Okay.
Because Tognozzi is going to also play more of a sporting role rather than just scout, right?
Got it.
So Comoli's actually overlooking everything. So I feel like it's going to be a mix. I feel like Tognozzi's going to be scouting and also trying to make moves, but this guy's just going to run it and be like, yeah, we can do this guy, or no, on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one.
Do you think he color codes his cheats? I love color coding. Only way to go.
I know. And guys, reminder, we got like 220 live right now with us. This is awesome. Get the likes up. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to continue.
There's got to be 1,000 Storm to Barn questions.
I know it hasn't been rumored at all, but am I the only one who thinks Andori Iraola from Bournemouth would not be a bad shout? Certainly more exciting than Pioli or Mancini. Right now, stepping on stepping on all my daughter's Lego sounds more exciting than Pioli or Mancini. Okay, with bare feet, that sounds more exciting than these guys to me. I'd keep Tudor at all costs, but this guy from Bournemouth.
What are we even talking about? I don't even know where that is.
I think we're getting crazy now. Like, simplify. Lock things in-house, and then get your top target. But don't cheap out. Elkann, you were ready to spend 100 mil and dump it in. Get your number one target coach, but actually lock it in. Okay?
Lock it up. You lock it up.
Lock it up. Did you hear the reason why Conte didn't come was because, according to him, the management was too messed up? Again... just me. But would you fail to believe that? Huh. Adam, how many Colombian players are there in the current Juve squad?
Oh my God.
All right.
One, right?
That's a yellow, bud. Okay. Omer?
Yeah, that's a deserved yellow.
That's a yellow, but we love Adam. He always comes in there with these goods. You never know where he's gonna mix it in.
I can see Omer's mind going, how many Colombian players do we have?
I didn't even see the answer.
What? That's actually up there for his.
Don't feel bad.
Up there for yours, Adam. The last one was brutal, straight red, but this one, that's a yellow. That's good stuff. Good stuff.
That was funny. Omer took me a second as well, buddy, but.
We respect.
It was really Tudor. Early in the show, and I remember the question. I didn't even see the answer.
We respect Tudor, but I honestly think that with him, Juve will be in a dogfight for top 4 next season. He will be in an uphill battle against season winners like Inzaghi, Conte, Max. Thoughts? Guys, who wants to kick us off on this? I already know my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Fire away.
Top 4 is a lock. Top 4 is a lock. Atalanta's going in, getting relegated without Gasperini. Roma will be fighting, right? Milan, didn't they finish like 17th? Like, where did they finish?
But now they have Allegri.
Yeah, okay, so they'll finish 6th. No, I have no fear of us not finishing. We were dog shit this year, and we still finished top 4. What the hell are we even talking about?
So are everyone afraid of Max now? Because we kicked him out for the exact same thing. So he's gonna have a season with no Euro. That's what we had with Max.
It's funny. Wait.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that Max I think now people are realizing, though, wasn't as bad as they made him out to be, and especially during the circumstances. A lot of same problems that are still here. But Omer, continue.
I mean, it can always be worse, right? You can have Marco Silva. If you keep asking,
hopefully not.
You can keep asking Jorge Mendes. He'll recommend Portuguese. Do you think
top?
Player. What a shock!
How do you feel about top 4?
I don't know. I have no idea who is signing and what coaches.
Exactly.
I don't know what to make of it. Inzaghi is rumored to. He was even linked to Juve.
Yeah.
Inzaghi in the past few days, and some credible sources said they already agreed a deal to go to Al Hilal and play in Saudi Arabia. Like, he might not be Inter's manager even next season. I would like to see all the old guys in the league. Like, if we had Allegri and Conte and Inzaghi, and you add in Mancini and Gasperini and Pioli and all those guys, and Sarri going back to Lazio. I mean, we have a real retirement home here. Yeah. Could be interesting. Maybe we can try out for what's his name, man. Come on, I love him. The guy who coached Roma, Ranieri.
He's done, man. Trim.
Yeah, he's out.
I think it's still way too early. Like, I'd rather answer this at the end of the market so we can see exactly how the teams are. But I still believe in my heart that, we're going to be fighting for top 4, but that shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be we want to win, right? But that being said, to Skanga's point, yes, Atalanta's supposed to take a drop off. They made top 4 this year. But what happens if Tudor walks away from us and goes to Atalanta? Because he's the rumored replacement for Gasperini. So... I mean, wouldn't it be a big FU to Juve if he left us, goes to Atalanta, and then gets him in top 4? So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think we should be aiming to win.
I think that, when you look at this whole thing, I'm still not. This season was such an unconvincing season for Serie A, all the teams, and now with these coaches changing all over the place, I still think it's going to be a lot of inconsistency across the board, just the same. Inter's on the verge of needing to do a little bit of cleanup and overall with their roster. Milan's got a ton of work to do. Max will help them with some stability and stuff, but I'm not scared there. Atalanta lost the juice. That would have been the one positive about Gasperini. Bring the juice to J-Med. But
allegedly.
I'm pretty sure. But I think we're going to be okay. Roster-wise, on paper, we're fine. I think the thing with Tudor is, because this is the issue. We want to aim for more. We don't want just top 4. And that's normal and that's right. But can Tudor just simply not win a Scudetto because he hasn't before? No. I mean,
absolutely not.
Everything he did towards the end was makeshift, and it was miles clear for me than what was happening with Motta. From a structural, organizational point of view on the pitch, we were way better. And I like the way, and I said he's not far removed from some of these guys. When it comes to mentality, he's like from the same school of Lippi that Conte is. And they're old school characters. When you're talking about Gasperini and how he plays the game, very north-south, very direct. That's what Tudor was doing. I want the ball up front with the attackers. I want them to work. He just hasn't done it. And he hasn't stuck around teams long enough. But some of that also isn't his fault. Lazio made a big mistake not keeping him around. when he came in, same thing, late in their season, he went on a rampage with that Lazio squad. We got Nick Diani from Kicks and Picks podcast. Great friend of mine. Awesome dude. He said we should have kept Tudor. Absolutely should have kept Tudor. Especially if Baroni was the follow-up.
Yeah.
We absolutely should keep him. I mean, he went into the final stretch of the season with like a defender and a half. Like, it's not a team that he assembled. He came into a broken dressing room. Half the team was injured anyway. Like, he didn't have Gatti, didn't have Coop Miners for most of it. And he still managed to make something out of it. Like, if you give him one summer to actually choose the player he wants and let everyone heal, I maintain that if Bremer is available, this season ends differently.
We're bringing Pintus in. That could help him tremendously because he wants these guys to be physical. He wants them to be able to run. He wants the stamina. Like, give the guy a shot. It's not out of the question for him, depending on what we do with the roster, to make a serious challenge. It's not out of the order. We gave up 21 points, 24 points from winning positions this season.
Shit ton.
I would bet that if we get in those positions next season, we get over half of those points with Tudor and a decently fit squad. Even just Bremer in there.
Yeah.
And he's already here. Like, he's already here on a low salary. He already knows the team. They apparently like him. Like, there weren't any issues. Even the guys that didn't play seemed to like him. Like, Conceição got less minutes than others. And I know it seems illogical to go in the route that you are going in right now, trying to come up with a name out of left field and gamble on someone who has no experience in Serie A, just based on what? On his Fulham career? I have no idea where they're going.
24 points given up from a lead. The Scudetto was won with 12 points more than us.
Does Trim have Buffon on his shirt there?
Yes.
I do.
Is that?
Yeah.
Did you think it was you?
I thought I didn't know what. I just noticed it now. That's
just
awesome.
a Skanga tee. We're just selling Skanga tees. Everybody, book it.
Yeah. AJC Skanga tees.
Yeah.
Make
I
sure
just
they're green
don't.
like
I don't have this belief that something can't happen for a coach just because it hasn't previously.
Yep.
You have to look at everything and consider all things. And again, this could be the best route for us to just show a little resolve. Calm down. Yes, there's a coaching carousel going on, but it's in a league that was very inconsistent and nobody was convincing, and I still think it's going to be the same. Roster on paper, my roster, I feel Juve's roster was better on paper than your Scudetto champion Napoli side this past year. On paper, I believe we were better.
I hate comparing ourselves to Merida, but I have a quick question. How long, like, Inzaghi was quite a new coach when he took over Inter, was he not? Sort of, but
he was been around the block, and he was with Lazio for quite some time.
He had some trophies with Lazio, and they were a thorn in a lot of teams. Like, he did have experience in the league. But okay, let's.
My storm the barn is, what if he leaves? Is he an option you would go for?
Yes, absolutely.
Would you ditch out on Tudor for Simone Inzaghi? Everybody in the chat.
Yes.
My initial
because I think it's in Juve's best interest, not because any other thing.
I am of mixed feelings, and the reason is I can't stand the guy's face. I cannot stand his 100%. Face. But
2 Champions League finals? Like, what are we talking about here? How many scores does he have? 2? Like, he knows what he's doing.
He always loses finals. He mostly wins most of his finals.
Just Champions League. Yeah.
And hopefully that's another Champions League loss. By the way, oh my God.
Is that today?
If the way this week has gone, it's just please do not let those guys win. Do not let those guys win. What will Alberto donate to see Inter lose the Champions League final? Oh my God. I give my left nut to see these guys lose. tonight and be in tears. And a treble talk weeks ago to getting nothing. Come on. PSG, 1 match loan. Let's go. Do you buy into the romantics out there that say Conte will forever have a soft spot for Juve? Or does this recent decision change things? For me, it's done. It's done. I don't want to hear about it. There is a big difference when you have a history with the club that he does to act in that manner, especially when you got guys involved like Giorgio Chiellini. And that really, I think it should have... There's fault by both parties, no set. We set ourselves up to get played, but god damn it, the guy's not an idiot. He knew what he was doing. And the way it went down, garbage.
Yeah, so, dog shit has a soft spot. We don't have to touch it anymore. So
yeah, Conte's done.
Yeah.
Conte's done for me. It's
done.
Now, Antonio Conte. Okay?
Bingo.
Fuck off.
Nailed it.
Fuck off. God damn it. I know it hasn't been rumored at all, but okay, no, we got that one again. Stop spamming with the Storm the Barns, man. God.
Yeah, you just have to send it once.
You guys shit on Napoli squad, but aside from healthy Bremer, Digre, and Cambiaso, we didn't have one guy who would start over rest of their roster. Def, not up top, and no mids, not even Thuram. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I do shit on their roster because on paper, yes, barely any banked on some of those guys doing what they were doing. Let's be serious here. Conte, this is one of his biggest feats for a reason. Look at that back line. You're telling me, are you kidding me? Even with Bremer, they had just a nightmare. They had Juan Jesus and Rahmani running roughshod through the league as the 2 main CBs. Di Lorenzo is... No Juve fans wanted him. Played fine. You've got Oliveira on the outside left. In the midfield, and Labocca's good. Locatelli had a better season than him this year. Way better. Thuram's great. Better. Anguissa's solid. It's not free and clear. I'm sorry. At the top, Lukaku had a phenomenal season. 14 goals, 10 assists, something like that. Phenomenal season. No shit he's better than Dusan and what Kolo Muani brought. These guys brought nothing. I'm not sold on Kolo Muani. By the way, all that's up in the air. Napoli, on paper, did not have a better squad. Not in my opinion. Guys?
So my show was going to be Luca. Like, you could argue he can fit in that midfield. I know Lobotka and Gisa and McTominay had a strong season. Give him credit. But, I mean, Luca's right there for me. And then the obvious one that got missed on the outside would be Yildiz. How is Yildiz not in that? How could Yildiz not crack that starting lineup? You're telling me you take him over Politano? Or one of those guys outside?
I'm not taking Politano out in public, let alone over Yildiz. Get that clown.
So those are the other two that we're kind of forgetting about. So
I saw McTominay hacking butts at the parade. I would sign that guy in a goddamn heartbeat. Guy hacks butts, right, Omer? Get him on our squad immediately.
Doesn't work with Kamoli, man. Data-driven smokers, chumps.
Minus 20 to speed.
Even though the data historically says the smokers are champions. Gigi Buffon used to hack a couple darts in his day.
Alfredo Di Stefano has a photo where he sits on the bench at halftime or after he was subbed smoking a cigarette. And he was like the greatest Real Madrid player ever, barring Ronaldo. Mm-hmm. And he was a smoker. Paul Gascoigne, all those guys, Great historical smokers. Maybe
which players from this? We got time for a few more. We'll do a few more. We'll try machine gun. These are quick. Which players from this list do you think will be released from Juventus? Perin, Kelly, Savona, Rui, Kostic, Luiz, Vlahovic, and Milik.
So Perin stays, hopefully, but he'll probably be released. Kelly stays. He's on contract. Savona stays. Rui, God, it'd be tough to move that nose. Kostic, he's still a player. He's got to go.
Is he on the schnoz, man? What's the deal?
I got a big schnoz too. So does Luca. I would keep Luiz. And obviously the last two are gone. What happened?
I think
Luca just Fucking catching strays for the big schnoz there. I like it.
I think the main takeaway of this one is Luis. What would we do with him? The last two
I think everybody beyond Savona is gone. Rui, Kostic, Luis, Vlahovic, Milik, all gone.
So I actually think everybody's gone except Perin, because I think Savona, they're going to sell him if City's actually interested and they fork up an offer. Perin, I mean, yeah, he's more likely to leave as well, but for whatever reason, I think they might end up finding some common ground to keep him around for another year. But the rest of them, I think could be gone.
I got a spin-off question off this. Do you guys think that there's going to be as big a shakeup as there was last summer? Like, do you think he's going to come in and, because we have quite a few assets that could bring in good capital, do you think that Comolli comes in and wants to get his, like, a good squad of, I don't know what the data is going to tell him other than stop giving up fucking leads, but do you think he looks at it and he's like, man, we're short here, and it's going to be another wild chase, and we have funds to do it, and we have assets with good value and capital? Do you guys think it's going to be a big shakeup?
No, I don't think as big as it was.
Not as big as it was, but what are you expecting? Give me a number, like 6 new names coming in, 4 new names.
I
Two
think
strikers,
like five new names. 2 of them will be rotational players, and I think more will actually leave. Like that entire list could leave, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Perin, I don't want him to leave, but there were some rumors in the media that he is thinking about leaving for some reason, or Juve want to make him leave. But all of that was relevant when Giuntoli was still the sporting director. So everything is up in the air right now. Like, I have no idea.
Out of that list, I would like to see Savona stay.
I agree.
Out of that list.
I don't get the hype around Savona. I'm sorry. I don't get the hype around that guy. I have no idea why City are interested. Fine, maybe they have tons of spreadsheets that I don't have, and
I see him slotting in at one day as a center back. Dude, he locked up top guys at the beginning of the season playing on the right side. Like, there's something there that, yeah, he's just got to dial it in. But he's so young. He's still young.
Worst case,
I wouldn't give up so soon.
He is.
I wouldn't give up
so
soon.
I wouldn't either. I just feel like the club wants the capital. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Comolli was charged 1 full year of eligibility because of business transfers with a fake agent. Gotcha. Do you think Juve haters won't jump on that? They'll jump on
Juve haters will jump on anything.
They'll jump on anything, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
McKenny likes ranch on his pizza, man. He's freaking crucified. Likes everybody's sister, too. Are we finished if the new management fails? Seems like a complete overreaction to me. Are we finished if the new management fails? I mean,
start a city.
You're never finished.
Like, you're not finished. I mean, I've got nothing left to say about this upper management. I need to see them out. And I sadly feel like we're, like I said, scattered in how we're building. Start from the top, work your way down. I don't trust these guys that chose Comolli. I don't know. In a scenario where Tudor heads to Atalanta and probably kills it there, we are left with Marco Silva, Pioli, Motta, come on, in the coaching market. Your choice. If it was Silva, Pioli, and Motta, I'd choose Skanga.
Mm-hmm. Pioli.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Skanga.
Now, to answer the question truthfully, if those were the options, I would be with Omer, and I would take Pioli if those were the options. Jesus. Please don't let that be
That's a scary, scary thought.
Whew. If you are Tudor, would you feel comfortable staying now? I feel like he's
business.
Feel like he's been disrespected. I mean, he opened himself up to it though, also by accepting as a caretaker with no guarantees. So he kind of opened himself up to it. At the same time, immediately after his words, I mean, he called for it and he deserved to know the decision immediately. the fact that we're still being linked with guys, I don't like that, because that tells me that we left things open-ended. Reminder, Tudor's supposed to show up at Continassa tomorrow, and we prep for Club World Cup on Monday. And this team just hasn't come out and said, this is our guy. We have a 1-year contract that's been extended to him, and this is the decision we made, and we all feel like it's just nothing. It's just silence, and this guy's supposed to be here tomorrow. I could see feeling a certain way, even though he came in as a caretaker.
And just one thing I want to add. Tomorrow the window opens, does it not? June 1st?
For the Club World Cup.
The early window?
Yeah, the early window. Yeah.
So it's going to tell us a lot in the next, 7 to 10 days.
It's not going to tell us shit, Trim. It's just the first window. Don't worry about it. Go touch some grass. Settle down. Go spend time with your wife. Play some summer hockey. Jesus Christ, relax.
Summer hockey. Street hockey. Titan, man. Titan sticks were the best for street hockey. That blade would come down to this friggin' thin, and it would still hang on, and you just throwing clappers out there that would just sail because your blade's too thin. Friggin' awesome.
Would you get to be this word?
Would you get Leone from Parma instead of Vega? I wouldn't say instead, but I do want Leone signed by Juve.
Agree.
There's a lot of question marks around Vega because Giuntoli out. So like Conceição, Vega, and Colomuani all now might not fit the data. I still want Vega.
I would love to see Vega and Bremer together. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, all those young center backs, like roll it back 3-4 years. Remember the names? Marash Kumbula and Lovato, whatever was his name, Demi Lovato, who plays in Serie B now, and they asked for like 30 or 40 million to get those guys, and now I don't know whether they have a sausage stand somewhere. I'm not all in on all those young center backs, Coppola, whatever. I don't think they're the solution to come in and immediately change things for Juve. I mean, who talked about Bremer when he was 18 or when he was 22? Did anyone mention his name ever? Like the center backs, I'm sorry, I'm not banking on those 18-year-olds.
It's not banking. That's why I'd want Vega, and it's not Leone Vega or Vega. Fine. It's a difference there. But Vega's also only 21 years old and showed what he can do.
Parma he's 35.
Parma showed his Leone showed his stuff with Parma too, and again, it's more one of those things where contingency planning, jumping on the young talents early rather than overpaying potentially later. There's a lot of things to factor in. Nobody's saying he's going to make or break Juve. But Vega would be one based on what he's shown. I would definitely look to add. And Leone, I would jump on that now at the price tag because you're not going to lose in the long run no matter what the outcome is. That's just how I see it. Coppola, another guy to jump on while they're reasonable prices. It goes back to Barella when Lou and I were screaming, make a push. 25 million, make a push. Oh, he only wants Inter. How do you know? Make a push, up the ante. Sometimes money talks. Like, just shoot for these guys at those prices when they're there in your backyard. I don't know.
For depth, it's fine, but what's the price they're asking for him right now?
Not even depth, but it's just like develop. It's contingency. It's like he doesn't need to be with us first team. He could remain there and continue to grow while being our property. Other teams could become interested. We could move. We don't necessarily need to bring them in, but it's just like.
But recent history with Dragoshin and Romero, and now Huijsen is the latest one, and all those defenders who were great in Serie A and didn't stick around because they just had no place. Juve, and Rugani, Caldara, all those names. It hasn't worked out. We're probably going to sign him for 20 million and then ship him off because he doesn't get enough playing time, and then he'll be sold to some.
But those are completely different times. You're talking about Romero. How is he going to break into that lineup with the guys that were around during his time? He wasn't gonna. Minutes were a question. Dragusin was another same thing.
I don't think again right now. He is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's not.
I'm not saying he has to get in. Romero's not a comparison to Leone. Huijsen would be a comparison to Leone, but we sold Huijsen on the cheap. I never liked the actual price, but I can get away with that. But in hindsight, holy shit, we could have used a young guy, some depth or whatever. We still have Facundo Gonzalez. We have Gil Push that's down below. We just signed that Dutch dude to the next gen. And he's highly touted too. The dude's a monster. So we still have a lot of young prospects there, but these guys are actively playing in the top flight and making a name for themselves. If the price is right, yeah, I would jump on it, and he could add some
for the
depth
right price
next year.
Yeah, but if they are asking like all the other teams in Serie A for 30-40 million for every shit product they produce, then no, that's a lot of money that you can get a more ready-made player for Juve right now.
Well, ready-made is the way to go first, but nobody's
That's
saying,
a lot
I'm not
of
saying
money.
Leone over Vega, but ideally, we gave up a lot of young guys to get the books right. The books are right now. I see this team loading up on young talent again. That's going to be a steady cash cow, and the elite join us. So we can't just lose sight and say, well, all our signings now need to be immediates. No, you're going to see a good mix.
Not immediate.
Antoniozzi is going to be...
I don't want to spend 30 million on him. That's my point.
Mark 1, is this the end of a successful Juventus era? Well, I mean, when the decade of dominance kind of ended, and then Pirlo's season was probably the end of a pretty successful reign, and now it's time to get back, but it's definitely a rediscovering period. I mean, what are we talking about here? We got to rediscover ourselves. Some similar ones. We got probably one more that will go. Name, where are we at? If Inzaghi loses tonight, he went from giving City their first Champions League trophy to giving PSG their first Champions League trophy. Discuss why. Would you want to have him in Juve? Again? Why would we want Inzaghi? Well, again, out of the options there.
For me, he proved that Mbappe is overrated, and PSG were losing more trophies with Mbappe than without him. So he's actually doing me a favor to prove me right. If
the Mbappe agenda continues.
God, he's so overrated.
Jeff with an X, I see your question. We are going to get to it. I rate Inzaghi. I rate Inzaghi as a coach. Out of all the names that we have mentioned, I rate him higher than any of them. Other than Mourinho, but Mourinho's got a wild card as we don't have the front office to facilitate that guy. We don't.
Just look at the resume.
So Inzaghi...
I mean, is Champions League final the be-all, end-all for a manager?
No. But along with Scudetti, like he's done a lot, right? He can do both.
Yeah.
He did well with his Lazio side. We got to be honest too. When you look at that team, nothing. And with Inter, he kept them rolling, got trophies, two Champions League finals
without a huge budget, with basically finished players. Who non-considered, and
I do rate Inzaghi. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's going to be available though.
And the same metric that we applied to Conte, league first. I'm not even talking about success in Champions League. I don't care what he does in the Champions League final.
But we shouldn't take him now because he's going to lose another Champions League final and he's going to be in tears. And we don't want any floods in Turin. Our pitch needs to be in good condition so our guys don't get injured and go into J Medical because they'll never make it out. Palladino, would you take him? No.
Not yet.
No, I'm kind of done with those. Not done, but I think these guys need a bit more experience than one successful season at a mid-table club. I think it's good for their career. I mean, he was already quit, but I think it would have been good for his career to stay at Fiorentina. Same goes for Motta at Bologna or Palladino at Bologna, or all those guys.
I'd take Palladino, Matt says, over Silva 1,000 times out of 1,000. I agree with this, but I don't want either right now at Juve.
Don't want either one.
Right now. Palladino, give him more time. There are a lot of shouts, Italiano, Juve should have made a push there right now. I think we need to just have some resolve and then get an actual elite guy that's elite right now at the moment. There's just none available at the moment right now. There was one it ended the way it did, and now we move everybody. As far as the whole situation, the whole outlook, it might not be, as bad, as dire as everything seems. It does seem a little scattered. It does seem a little out there from management. I've been very vocal about it today, obviously, but they've had this safety net with Tudor there. I don't think they've necessarily. I think a stance should have been made and everything, but I think Juve's acting knowing that they have that safety net there. And for whatever reason, the narrative, they don't care for how it's looking there. They obviously don't care about the optics or whatnot, but there was never a push. Like, if we look at all these things, Napoli had a meeting with Conte and then approached again for 2 days consecutively. Juve never did. So maybe they were fine with what's going on. And maybe they are fine with everything that's going on right now, how it plays. Gasperini, one phone call, okay. They might have said, hey man, where do you get your juice? That could have been all it is. But Juve, for all we know, whatever the hell their plan is, they could be comfortable this entire time knowing that they have that safety net with Tudor and the 1 year option. We just have to wait and see. For us, I think as fans, I'm speaking for myself. We'll see if you guys agree. It's just a bit of a letdown because we know that Conte is an elite coach. And for me, there's a big drop off there. And he would have represented, I think, instant credibility as a contender. And that hurts. It's okay to be hurt. That sucks. It does suck. And Napoli was scared. I know they're playing a game now, they're fans, but they were terrified. They thought he was walking. We all did. It hasn't happened. Now we need these guys to show some resolve. And maybe not acting quickly is the right call. I know that links to Silva, links to Pioli. This hurts. And Tudor's supposed to show up tomorrow. So right now, management, show me something. Take control of something. Give me something. Give me some sign that you're cool here, that this is all fine and according to plan, whatever the fuck your plan is, but show me something. Guys, you agree it's just maybe made out to be more because of that letdown from the elite coach to the rest of the pack? Do you think that's what's heightened everything?
Absolutely. None of those names is Conte. It's just what it is. He's an elite coach, and there's no denying that. And Napoli are lucky to keep him. And I would have done exactly what De Laurentiis did. I would have thrown everything I have at him to just keep him and certainly not let him go to a direct rival. It pains us because we're on the other side of that deal, but still, I don't think Napoli have done anything wrong. They went all in on something that already gave him success. It just pains us to see it because he's a former Juve captain and a former Juve manager, and he's an elite coach. The names out there right now are just not. It's just not it. Even Zidane, I have reservations considering Juve's status right now and what he has done in his career so far. So yeah, it's a big letdown, but still, I get why he did what he did and why Napoli acted the way they did.
We should have. You know what, Elkann? You want to fucking do something? Empty your goddamn pockets for Klopp. Bring me fucking Klopp. Just go and get that big tooth bastard out of Red Bull and fucking bring him in. Spend your money there. God,
I will say one thing though. This does have the possibility of going sideways with Conte and Napoli. Like, it was a honeymoon phase this year, right? Like, everything went right, but who's to say that it can't completely flip on its head next season? Not saying it will, but that's what comes with Conte. So especially with ADL, right? The two of them together, you never know. Like, everything went well for them this year, so it has the ability to flip the other way. So time will ultimately tell, and we just got to wait and see. But no doubt, I think it hurts from Juventus fan standpoint because we missed, we got passed up by a big name, right? So
Skanga. Just the letdown from elite to the rest.
I got a 65-foot pine tree that's dead in the backyard that's got to come down. That's what concerns me. I got to try and figure out how to get that son of a bitch onto the ground. It's huge. It's a massive tree. And Dom, good to see you too, buddy. I see Dom, Napoli fans in here. So yeah, like whatever. We tried. It didn't work out. Eventually, that powder keg in Napoli will blow up. It might take a couple of years, but it always happens with those two, Conte and De Laurentiis. It'll happen. Eventually.
Yeah. Now we got to get to the Champions League final.
Why?
Predictions. Everybody,
don't give a
hit me with your
shit
predictions. Oh, I care. I care. I don't want these clowns hoisting that trophy. Omer, hit me with your prediction.
2-1 for Paris Saint-Germain.
All right. Trim.
Yeah, that was my scoreline, was 2-1 PSG. And, I've been hearing some stuff in the background, watching some things from certain fans of other fan bases saying, you know what, if this was Juve, I'd say, fuck that, I'm cheering for PSG, But because it's Inter and they hate Juve just as much as we do, we're gonna go for Inter. So no, I can never cheer for that scumbag team, and that's why I'm going 2-1 PSG.
Skanga, PSG or Inter?
So on Amazon, I bought this set of like hangers for my garage. It's like a 12 pack of like different hangers. I got to hang extension cords. I got a couple of rakes to hang. I got to organize my garage. I do not give two shits about this game. I would rather sit in my washroom with diarrhea for 4 hours than spend any of my time watching this game.
Speaking of diarrhea, Inter, they're going to lose, okay? I'm going with 3-1 PSG victory. I don't give a fuck about hanging hooks in Skanga's garage or a pine tree, okay?
We did it. Over 7.5 F words from this guy.
We need PSG. We need PSG. Actually, no, it's 5. And we need PSG
I've been counting
to take it down. And I see the questions about a watch along. You guys, it would be a hate along, first of all. And I can't. If things go sideways and it starts going in their favor, I would bail immediately. But listen, I can't do it. Anyways, I have some commitments with my daughters today.
Good for you.
That I am going to be rocking with them. The game will be on, of course, but yeah, there's a party going on with my daughter and everything and her friends, so I got to tend to that. I will just be the parent in the background kind of swearing at the TV or whatever, but you know what I mean? Let's get PSG to take care of business. I'm going to go 3-1, and hopefully Inter goes from treble talks to absolutely nothing. For Juve, God, can we show some faith and some backing in somebody? Tudor's supposed to show up tomorrow. Imagine being there at Continassa with absolutely nothing said so far. Meanwhile, Giuntoli is still actually employed by Juve as well. So maybe he'll walk in the door too and be like, hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing here? Who's got the coffee on? Got the coffee on? Yeah, let's go. Woo!
Got donuts.
Show me that Excel spreadsheet, Damien.
Crunching those numbers.
You bastard. Go. By the way, wasn't Jake the Snake Roberts' snake actually called Damien? That's a bad omen, everybody. Okay? Because Jake the Snake Roberts, I'm pretty sure his snake was called Damien.
Everything about it screams a mistake. I don't want to, be premature or whatever, but man, it just doesn't add up.
It's very strange. It's strange. It came out of left field. I still don't know. We covered it today, this whole data-driven thing. I don't know. It just tells me we're going to be spending a lot of time on Excel this season. Who knows what the season's going to hold. But the offseason, everybody, this is week 1. We had this much to talk about. Let's see what unfolds. We haven't even talked about mercato or players. That's the scary thing. The scary thing. We got to lock things in. Let's see. Tudor, he's showing up tomorrow. And I say give this guy the season. And then let's reassess the coaching landscape at that point. Skanga, Trim, Omer, absolute pleasure. All right. Everybody in the chat, enjoy your weekend. 1 match loan for me and PSG. Okay, 1 match loan. Let's see what happens. I'm going to keep you in the loop for the Juve news. We will be doing these live shows every weekend throughout the mercato. We are going to have live shows around Club World Cup. Philadelphia. We're going to have a good, strong AJC army showing there. And I'm still working on finalizing the private event too. There'll be details for that coming up. Everybody, take care. Thank you for the support. Again, drop a like on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, no matter what, disarray or anything, whatever, one day at a time. And it's always fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.
Set the tone.